Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. You're with Noor here, and welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of not letting social media fool you, especially in terms of the numbers that you tend to see online. So, the specific topic that I wanted to cover today is pretty much the topic of how much revenue someone makes compared to how much they actually take home. Because whenever someone tends to decide to start an agency or start a business model, they they assume that being a business owner is the best way to make the desired income that they want to make. However, they fail to understand some of the costs involved, and they don't see what's actually behind the Stripe screenshots that tend to be posted all over social media. So one thing that I'm going to say here is that, when it comes to the stuff you see online, a 10K per month business doesn't necessarily mean that you as an individual earn 10K per month. Okay. Now, I've seen so many situations where, again, people are posting this, right? And from an outsider's perspective, it can be quite misleading because, we don't see the costs involved. And I think this is very prevalent for a lot of the young people out there because you assume that a 10K per month business, or someone that's making 10K per month with their business, is someone that gets to keep 10K per month every single month, when that isn't true. So usually what happens is that your business in question, or the person's business in question, makes 10K per month. However, the owner themselves don't actually take home 10K per month, okay? Because there's various costs involved. There's softwares, team members, and all of these different things that are required to keep the business afloat and to keep it, going. Now, when it comes to 10K per month businesses, and marketing agencies, it usually has 60% margins, unless you're still doing everything yourself, which is, ideal, especially at that level, where you can even go as far as, having 80% margins, which is fantastic. But let's just say 60% is the minimum. This means that you as a business owner will naturally take home, 6K per month. Now, when you look at this number, it's not as lucrative as it once was, when you assume that you can pocket 10K per month, okay? And when you look at this 6K per month, for example, or 6K number, you can actually earn the same amount, if not more, with reduced stress in an alternative position, such as being a closer, being a setter, being an integrator, even working in operations, even a normal job to some capacity, depending on what sector you're in and the experience level that you actually have. Now, this is important to actually note here, because for some of you guys that are watching this, right, you may have a desired income of, you know, uh, 10K per month, and you may think that running a business is the easiest way to do it, because all you need to do is get to 10K per month, when actually it isn't. Due to the margins in place and the costs involved, you might need to make, double that to actually be able to take home 10K per month. Okay. And for those of you that want to make less than 10K per month, right, this will allow you to actually understand whether business is the perfect route to actually take, in order to make 5 to 6K a month, because you can easily do that, like I mentioned, in other positions. So it's super important to understand that, what your take home would be from a business, because there's a likelihood that you can earn the same, if not more, without having to endure the same stresses of a business owner. Okay. So it's really important to note this, because again, when you look at these YouTube videos, you see the screenshots and all this stuff at face value, it's fantastic, but you don't see the costs behind it. And what ends up happening is that the founder in question, they take home a lot less than what you actually see on a Stripe screenshot. Now, it's important to note here that low margins aren't always a bad thing. It really depends on the context here, because usually in the growth phase of a company, it's really normal to have low margins, because it shows that you're building for the long term. So for some of the clients, for example, within our coaching program, right, I've spoken to some of the guys where they're scaling towards that 100K per month mark, and they naturally have to take a hit on their margins, to be able to reinvest the revenue that they earn into different infrastructures within the business, into the operations, the marketing, systemizing certain things, team members, and all of these things. So they naturally have low margins, where they are laying the foundations for that growth that will eventually come from the sacrifices and the investments that they're making in the short term. So I really want to stress that point, that low margins aren't always a bad thing, because it means that people are, building for the long term. However, when it comes to the point I'm trying to make here, where perhaps you don't want to make 100K per month or anything substantial like that, perhaps you want to make 10K per month, right? Then there's really easier ways to do that than running a business. Okay, if you're someone that wants to make more than that, right, where you want to make, like I said, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100K and beyond, then business is the route to potentially take. But if it's around that 10K per month mark, there's honestly better avenues. Now, I'm going to give you a live example here to demonstrate this in a bit more detail. Take a closer versus a business owner, for example. Let's just say a social media marketing agency owner, because that's the most, relevant example I can give here. Both make 10K per month, okay? However, the key difference is that the closer in question takes home 100% of the cash, and all they have to do is be available to take up to 8 calls a day. Okay, so for example, in our company, we've got closers, for example, that earn up to 10K per month, and literally they have to just sit at their desk and take calls back to back to back, selling people. Okay, and of course there's more to it behind that. They have to stay in touch with their pipeline, with any warm prospects, follow up with them, not lose any deals like that. But the majority of the work is just taking calls on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of every month, they don't have any costs involved. Whatever they earn goes directly into their back pocket. When you compare this against the business owner, right? The business owner who makes 10K per month, let's just assume that he's got the bare minimum margins in place. He takes home 60% of the cash, and then he has to endure the stresses of a business owner, managing client, tech, softwares, team, planning out the future, all of these different things. So this is a very, broad example here. It's just a typical standard example of, you got a sales closer and a marketing agency owner, an SMMA owner, right? And, this is the most typical thing that you'll actually see, where the SMMA owner in question that's at that 10K per month mark, they usually have different costs flying from left to right, and as a result they don't take they don't take that amount home. Whereas the closer in question, they take 100% of the cash. It's the same with the setter, they take 100% of the cash. It's the same even with me, where I run the operations for a coaching business, right? When I get paid, I don't have any costs whatsoever that's associated with my role. Obviously, I've got to pay tax, right? Or because I'm based in the UK. But in terms of like business costs or anything like that, nada. I have none, and I'm able to take home, and I'm able to actually keep a lot more money than a lot of business owners out there, due to the fact that I don't have any costs involved. So this is what you really need to understand here, and it's important to not be fooled by social media, right? Because like I mentioned at the start of the video here, the Stripe screenshots that you see don't show you the profit margins involved in a business. Okay, so this is really, really important. And again, it's specifically geared towards, the younger generation, because naturally, when you're looking at these big fancy numbers on YouTube and the Stripe screenshots, it makes you think that, wow, this person in question is actually, making this much and they're taking home this much, and they actually aren't. Okay, and it's normal for them not to take home that much. The Stripe screenshots never reveal the entire story, and they especially don't show you the profit margins involved in a business. You'll rarely find people that are open to discussing how much, what profit margins they're actually taking. It's a rare find, and when someone actually does, reveal the truth behind that, it's actually a great sign of integrity, because people just want to be perceived as a successful and perceived as taking home a lot of money, where instead of actually being successful and instead of actually taking home a lot of money, okay, they would rather show you the Stripe screenshot to sell you a lifestyle that they're not actually living. So I've literally seen, so many people who operate at such a high level yet take home so little due to poor operations and business acumen. Okay, so I've literally seen someone, for example, in a Facebook group, where he publicly admitted this. He makes 100K per month, but he's got a 10% profit margin. So what that means is that he's taking home 10K per month. the other 90% of the cash, it's going towards team members, operations, systems, ad spend, all of this stuff. And, remember when we spoke about how low profit margins to some capacity can be okay at some times because it can be a reflection of the business owner in question investing in their growth. With this business owner in question, he actually admitted that he doesn't know what he's doing operationally, and when he described what he's doing, it made no sense whatsoever. So again, when you see these screenshot guys, when you see these success stories of people where their business makes 10K per month, right, or their business makes XYZ per month, please understand that that's what the business makes, but how much does the owner take home after all the costs are said and done? So when it comes to this stuff, again, you typically only see the good side, as the bad side is usually far too explicit to share on social media. And naturally, right, when you're actually showing this lifestyle, the people typically showing this lifestyle, they probably have something to sell you, and it's more marketable showing you the good side, which is totally, understandable. But at the same time, you want to do your due diligence here and accept that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Okay, we've got clients, for example, that I'm actively speaking to that have crossed that 10K per month mark. They're at that 30K per month mark, but they still have problems in their business, issues they're facing, and all of this stuff, and they're still working very hard to make their business a success. And that's perfectly normal. It's not supposed to be all rainbows and sunshine. So if you're someone out there that's only being fed the good side of being a business owner and taking home all the cash and all this stuff, don't fall for it. Understand that there is a bad side to it. And finally, the money can be great as a business owner, and it's a fantastic lifestyle to actually live for many people, provided you get it right. But sometimes the level of work, stress, and responsibility involved, it can be overwhelming. For many people, it's not worth it. Like, I've literally seen people shut down their business and pursue a different role because it's less stress and they're able to earn a similar amount, if not more, without having the stresses of a business owner. Okay, so for me, for example, before entering the role of running operations, right, I was actually running my own marketing agency, and I hate saying marketing agency because I was more of a freelancer, with a virtual assistant, and I was in a position where I wasn't making that much, but I was making around, £3,000, and that's about, 4K USD. And it was set to go up to, 5K pounds, and I was building up some serious momentum. However, I just absolutely hated it. And I was in the e-commerce market where it's very hard to deliver. And, it got to a point where I was dealing with a nightmare client. I didn't have the capacity to continue investing in solutions to be able to deliver for clients. And the money I was making, I just pulled the plug. And now I'm in a position where I pretty much make a lot more than what I was making trying my hand at business. And I don't have the stresses of a business owner anymore. Okay. So again, as a business owner, your money can be great, but the level of work, stress, and responsibility involved can be overwhelming. Okay, so really important to know. And there's loads of real life examples like myself who have taken a completely different path from business and have seen far greater success, taking an alternative path without having to endure the stress of a business owner. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Key point here: please don't let social media fool you. The numbers you see on screen isn't always a reflection of how much someone takes home, and it's important to understand that, so how much you really need to make in order to take home your desired amount as a business owner, right? And it also gives you an understanding of whether you should pursue a business or not, depending on how much you want to make. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.